Can you hear me? Yep. And welcome back again to the Expressway. I'm Charles. Show me the way here with the BT Express, Billy Taylor, and you're checking us out live on alumnimedia.com. Check us each and every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11:15 on alumnimedia.com. We are here and ready to go to take you around the world of sports. Obviously, we always focus on our favorite team, our the New York Giants, and we also hit on that team across the way, the New York Jets, a little bit, and let you guys know. But we also look around the NFL this football season as we come to a close. On Super Bowl week, a lot of festivities, a lot of things going on in Las Vegas. We're going to the NFL, what's going on, and then something that's near and dear to our hearts, NBA basketball. We just did the All-Star last week. We're going to get through what we think of the selection and who's this up, who didn't get up, and what's going on with our New York Knicks. Obviously, we got a New York Knicks because we are in New York and we see how hot those Knicks are doing. There are a lot of things talking about, a lot of Giants news, not a lot of Jets news. And so, BT, I just want to kind of hit on the current news that the Giants are potentially hiring a defensive coordinator from the Tennessee Titans. What do you think about the hire? I know that as a New England Patriots kind of feel on how they run their defense, it's not going to be all or nothing defense like New Martindale. What do you get from Shane Bowen scheme, and how do you think it will impact the Giants?
Well, I think it disguises a lot of defense. What I mean by that is for the snap, a lot of quarterbacks get a pre-snap read. Same thing we do. But because of this kind of defense, they kind of go into with their defensive coverage in a slow way so the quarterback doesn't get the direct read. He's aggressive up front. Sometimes he plays man in coverage. The thing about Lee Martindale sometimes upset me was that he was always in man. Either always in man that gives the quarterback more. Hoping that changes this year. Even as I talked to you before the show, Marvindale got the job. It's not because they were fighting the sidelines, or is that because you don't view him as a great DC? Because when you think about it, I thought he did well in protecting people that he was surrounding himself. So I don't really know the answer. I know that the Baltimore Ravens said good things about him before he came.
Yeah, I agree. It will be a different scheme thematically. Does I think they ran a 4-2, 4-3 at in Tennessee, so it is going to be different. It's not that Baltimore Raven, Wink Martindale style of 3-4 defense. How does that? I think you have um, the skill set, the people in position to play that. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence, I would love to have another D tackle that could anchor in there, hold up against the run, and at least be productive in the pass. One of the other questions I have, we talk about the defense, we talk about um, Thibodeau stepping up, being that guy, Larry on the other side. But one of the guys we haven't talked about is Isaiah Simmons. Came in from Arizona, and he was surprisingly effective, not having a full season, not able to truly grasp Lee Martindale's defense. What do you think the Giants are thinking about him, and do they re-sign him?
I like him. I watched his play, and I totally understand that you have plenty of people in the Giants that comes in and has to study his behind them. Look at another team in the middle of the season. You understand the practice that you need to wake up early just to be able to indoctrinate yourself with the other team there. It's just something because with a good training camp, you really be a big bolster to the Giants. So I'm hoping they just sign him. They have some other problems because I think they need a linebacker, defensive tackle. Those are things you got to address. Also, people are talking about the Giants need a wide receiver. Shepard is retiring, and I never thought he was great. This year's draft has more good wide receivers than I've seen in a long time. Maybe the Giants should include themselves in it. I know that nothing works.
Yeah, and the way the NFL calendar works out, free agency always precedes the NFL draft. And so you're going to have four pretty decent receivers to choose from. Obviously, T. Higgins is out there. I don't know. Why would you want to leave one of the best quarterbacks, none of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Joe Burrow? You got Mike Evans, you got Calvin Ridley, and you got Mike Pittman Jr. From those four, I'm not a Mike Evans fan. Everybody loves Mike Evans. Everybody thinks Mike Evans is coming to the Giants because that would be a good pick. But I'm not a Mike Evans fan. I think he's very inconsistent at times. Doesn't have a lot of speed. He's older in age. He has many more years than T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, and Mike Pittman. So I'm not a Mike Evans fan, but out of that group, I would love to have T. Higgins. I think he's a very dynamic player and can make plays and can field can change the field position in the instant. What do you think about this?
Well, I agree with you, Mike Evans, because he's Texas A&M. I watched him drop a lot of balls there. And, past couple of seasons, he had Brady, dropped a lot of passes. I saw him. They filled there, and he dropped a lot of passes. But when he catches one, he's excited. When he catches one. I think he runs a decent route, not a great route. But take T. Higgins from Cincinnati quicker than anybody. Is that right? He's from Cincinnati?
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
I like always, but a quarterback has more room for error. Whoever's a quarterback for the Giants, Tyrod Taylor, whomever it is, I think, I think the more room that you have for error in the quarterback situation, it will be better for you. So I think either one of those would be good. I hope not Mike Evans because he looks like Mike here. I think you need somebody young with fresh legs and to be able to, get off the line very quickly. Mike Evans doesn't get off the line in other receivers. So I think it would be a good move for the Giants to go after T. I think he's very good receiver. I think he runs a good route. See, I like receivers that know what they're doing. Like, when you come up to whatever 17-yard end, round it, you give a little fake to the inside and go in. There's not many receivers that do that, which I was kind of shocked because I'm taught that way. You do a head fake or something, and your right leg and go straight down the line. You know, or, oh, the guy from the Rams called wide receiver for the Rams. Yeah. Cooper Kupp. He was the best top five best routes. I like that because if you run more the defensive back, the only way you're going to shake them and severe separation is do a hand fake or some kind of fake to lead them. The hard part now, unless the quarterback is no room for error, still put the ball up. There's no room on some of the Kelsey passes, but he got to still take it. So I think you need receivers who know how to run good routes.
Yeah, I agree as well. But when you look at the receiving core, you look at the draft, they're going to be some good. If you look at some of the pre-draft selections, they got three quarterbacks going 1, 2, and 3. Then they got the receivers going 1, 2, and 3. When I look at that, I'm not as crazy about the Washington receiver as probably some other people are. I think he's tall, not very fast, not very quick, and I don't know that receiver, that type of receiver doesn't play very well. I mean, everybody's trying to compare him to AJ Brown with Philly because of his size. And I don't know if he's AJ Brown at all. What do you
I don't think it is at all. Ball, little, you have to be able to get off because if they touch you, they get their hands on you, and it's pretty guaranteed to take it away from you. For AJ Brown, I've watched him probably 10 times in the last few years, and I'm thoroughly impressed with his ability. I don't know why Tennessee could win. I guarantee you that take a team that's really one-way team. I mean, I like him going off the line. I like that receiver just like him. You got to study it. That's not giving up the line.
yeah, and then when you look at talking about draft and free agency for the draft now, and you have three quarterbacks going, you got two wide receivers going, and you're number 6. You have the chance to get one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. Why wouldn't you kind of bolster your offensive line and possibly take the flyer on a veteran receiver that could be decent? I just don't. And they said this is a deep wide receiver draft as well, so there's an opportunity to draft a good receiver in the second round. What do you think about? Even though it may not be a desperate need, but what about picking up an
See, if what you said is true, and I saw in the investigation the first three picks of the quarterback, it doesn't surprise me. But the thing is, 50% of them, you're not going to make it. It's always been that every single year. People talk about great people. You look at Mayfield, you know, why he didn't really get a chance to that. I think that they should go with the offensive line. So, three receivers and three quarterbacks. The Giants are at number 6. Best offensive lineman is available. Saw some good ones out there. I really did. I judge offensive linemen can make games and they have quick feet. And I see a couple of them that may be relational. And I want to even stay away from that. So I hope it comes down to the guys doing that. They do get an offensive line because if they get an offensive line, then they can allow things to happen. They can not have gigantic goals to run. And I look at other running backs, even Christian Saquon to the edge without being touched is quickness. So I think that might be something, and I agree with you, Charles. Offensive line, if those three quarterbacks and three receivers led by Marvin Harrison, six. You know, they're not revealing their hands at all, but I guarantee you have to think about it. Not very often. Right.
Yeah, and you think about it, I think Evan Neal is more of a guard anyway. I think he has good enough feet to play guard. And if you have him at one of those guard positions, you got Michael Smith and you got Thomas on the other end, and kid on the right side. You might have, but that's one of those Dallas Cowboy offensive linemen that's around for 15 years, right? And so maybe Daniel Jones is an free agent. Who had a terrible first year and had
Yep.
to build an offensive line. Emmitt Smith, everybody's saying Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer, but he was no Barry Sanders. Everybody was saying he wasn't Barry Sanders. You might rejuvenate Saquon Barkley. I think he is better than Emmitt Smith as far as all around running back wise, where he can go out and pass, make people miss. So I like drafting an offensive lineman, trying to find a good quality veteran, a, a la AJ Brown. But why? Tell me this. I know we're talking about the time. Why would Cincinnati give up T. Higgins when it's hard to get a good receiver that's game?
Well, Chase, the guy from LSU, the number one receiver, I think we got to put money up to pay him because he's I don't think we can pay two. A couple of years ago, the Giants had a receiver from Detroit. I can't remember his name, but they gave him almost $3 million a year, and he didn't play at all.
Mm.
He didn't make that same mistake. When I watched him play, he really did that. But this season, I see a lot of people did not see that. It kind of makes me mad. See, I think that availability of team really, really, I would go after him big time. You're going to give that 20 million in Detroit and didn't do nothing. Give him at least 15 million. Yeah, at least be able to get that. Odell Beckham got 15 million, and I don't know if he played in the game.
Yeah, I think T. Higgins will get a lot more money than $15 million. He's probably the top receiver in the free agent market, and so he's going to get what he's due. And so you're going to be looking at another $20 million guy at least. And so that brings a dilemma, and we gotta go to break. But that brings us to a dilemma: is do you sign Saquon Barkley to a long-term contract? He says all the right things. He wants to be in New York. But hold on to your comment. We got to run to a break. But I want your opinion about Saquon and what the Giants could finally do. I think he's a New York guy. He's a New York guy. Just give him a chance. But you're listening to the Expressway with Charles, show me the way in the BTX Tell right here on alumnimedia.com. Check us out each and every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11:15 right here on alumnimedia.com. Well, we'll be right back for BT to answer that question on whether the Giants will re-sign Saquon Barkley for a long-term deal. We'll be right back in a minute. Welcome back to the Expressway. You're watching us live on NFLalumnimedia.com. Check us out each and every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11:15 on alumnimedia.com. Check us out each and every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11:15 on NFL Alumni Media. This is the Expressway with Charles Way and the BT Express Billy Taylor. We just got finished talking about the Giants. I left off with one more question. We can finish up the segment. Always, this is probably the top storyline for the past year and a half is what are the Giants going to do with Saquon Barkley? Are they going to franchise and they have a chance to franchise in one more year, or are they going to bite the bullet and sign him to a long-term deal? I'm kind of inclined now to sign him to a long-term deal. There aren't a lot of good running backs out there. Obviously, everybody thinks running backs are dime a dozen. We talk about that all the time, but they need to just only have to get the man $50 million is not a lot of money. I mean, and he deserves it. You see what they're doing in San Francisco. Come on.
Well, Chris McCaffrey's going to open the bank. I think that's going to be a positive for Saquon. But what I did hear is that Jim Harbaugh of this Los Angeles Chargers said he would take Saquon Barkley and give him a multi-year contract right now if he was available. And I didn't like that statement. And what that does, it can wake the Giants up. If you lose somebody, then check it out. And you know by now, he's going into a sixth year. You know by now. And he's a guy who could play 10 years as a running back. His work ethic is outstanding. He's a good teammate. He does all the right things. He says all the right things. He deserves it. And sometimes, when I thought I'm the Giants take a lot of character people. I think more than a lot of teams, because he's got some bad luggage. I think he won't come to the Giants. People knows what. Good stuff to everybody. I loves him around the country. People talk about him. And everybody talks about how great he is. Even with a good offensive line. He built an offensive line, like you said, Saquon really think about it because you can play long, you can hit.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when you look at what Harbaugh is seeing, his offenses, even when he was in San Francisco, is predicated around the run game. They run the ball. They ran the ball at Michigan. They had a two-back offense at Michigan, ran the ball and won a national championship in that pro-style offense. And when he was in San Francisco and had success, he did the same thing. He had a two-back offense and ran the ball. And so he knows how to utilize it. My question is, my question to you, BT, is: do the Giants realize what they have, and are they going to put him in an offense that really highlights his skill set?
I don't think the Giants realize that because otherwise they wouldn't have lowballed him, give him 5 less than McCaffrey did. I think that you probably won't appreciate him until he's done. They try to do the same thing this year. I don't think they're going to franchise him. I think they're going to either sign him to a contract or let him go. I don't think, and again, you have other teams, like you have the defensive end number 5 taking Thibodeau. He went to bat for him. When other teammates go to bat for you on a team, you got to listen a little bit because they know he's valuable to every team. Like Dexter Lawrence got the MVP for the Giants. Everybody knows that other people have contributed also. So I think without an offensive line, without any all-pro, they part the comment a little bit, but with a young center who's a rookie last year blocking for him, and Evans is not there at all. He showed me he's truly deserving of anything the Giants can give him. I think they should even like they use the golden running back they use because they just there's not many running backs who are take right now over there.
Yeah, there is a resurgence. If you look at the teams that are having a success, you got the Tennessee Titans who had success. And all they did was run the ball, not a good quarterback. You see what San Francisco has done. I mean, they brought back Bill Walsh and Bill Walsh's offense and said, hey, look, we can still do what they did back in the 90s and 80s, right? And we can win games running the football, having a dynamic run game, pass game. Just it's about having dynamic players at the key skill positions. I don't know if the Giants, if Waller is your skill position at the tight end position. Yeah, I know he was hurt. I think he was dealing with a bunch of injuries this year, so he really didn't perform the way we would have liked. But the wide receiver position on the offense is still a big need for me, and they need to kind of find a playmaker that's Debo Samuels, AJ Brown, anybody, somebody that's like AJ Brown or Debo Samuel, somebody that can be dynamic and make plays and hit the top off.
Guys, Samuel, I like something like that. For instance, a wide receiver that can run the ball up the middle, that can gap yards after catch. Someone like that who can break tackles and take it. Every time people Samuel has the ball, he's got a chance to go all the way. See him break more tackles than anybody. And on the other side of it, the teams that got to the Super Bowl, running the ball. The teams in the Final Four, running the ball. And I think that you have to take notice of that because you can think you can get the Super Bowl without sort of a balanced offense. You got a running back that's pretty good. I'm going to highlight him on Sunday. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, and is Pachow, right? He, that kid is powerful and strong, and I like and quick. I love the what he does. He's almost like Debo Samuel, right? He's quick enough where they can put him in the passing game, and he'll one on one. You don't want him one on one with one another. So I think that adds another dynamic to that game. We're not talking about Kansas City, but I do want to bring up Davius Tony because he hasn't actually suited up. And we can talk about it though in Kansas City. We can talk about it now. I know this is the Jet segment, but Davius Tony, he has not suited up for about 4 weeks since they lost the game. And so I think the writing is on the wall that this may be the last season in Kansas City for Davius.
The thing that I noticed, I was wondering if the Giants is the number one draft choice, why the Giants were trading the number one draft choice. And they say that he was disruptive to the locker room. He was into his own thing. He was trying to be a rapper. He was trying to be. He was looking to Kansas City. They have great plays in football. He lines up off sides. Those are mental things you cannot put up. The receiver looks at the ball. He looks at the referee, and they can almost tell you where to line up and gas them. Brandon beat that situation because what happened was that they threw a long pass to Travis Kelsey. Kelsey threw a back to Marius Cole, and he went into the touchdown. Because he was off the sides, they took the play back from Kansas City and losing the ball game. So I don't know if he'll play in the NFL next year because of his mental prognosis that he's not into the game or he loses his concentration. You don't want that kind of guy on your team. And Andy Reid, one of the teams, Randy Reid is the coach.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Now, turning our attention to the Jets, one of the significant things that have come out of the Jets facility is that the firings have not kind of ended yet. And we were asking for all of the head coaches, anybody on the coaching staff's head for what happened last year. But I guess the front office isn't immune to their heads being on the chopping block either because they just fired their assistant general manager, Rex Hogan. And his claim to fame is that he was the one that identified Zach Wilson. So if he was tied to Zach, I guess it's like the emperor is looking for a pound of flesh. So they had to feed somebody to the lion, and I guess Rex Hogan was the person they decided to throw into the lion's den. And they fired.
See, the thing about that, Charles, is that but not such a close step. Otherwise, you make the error. He's the reason a few of them are there. The reason why they still have the job right now. He got hurt and they don't know what they're doing. Rex Hogan deserves to be. I mean, this is two times in the last 7 years that the Jets picked in the top five quarterbacks, and both of them are not very good. Zach Wilson, just like everybody else, I hope he will get better. He can handle New York. That's the thing about it. You got to know where you're playing. And I know how to deal with the media. I always talk about the media. And it seemed like he didn't get preparation on that. When you go to, when you get drafted high, they didn't take you to those seminars where they teach you how to deal with the media, how to deal with money. The NFL does a good job with it. But evidently, he wasn't listening.
Yeah, I, that's funny. But all right, Jets aren't. There isn't a lot of news on the Jets. We're not going to prolong that, but there is coaching news. A lot of places have been filled. Mike McDonald just got the Seattle job. He's hiring Leslie Frazier as his assistant head coach. So that means the Baltimore Ravens lose it. They lose their defensive coordinator. It just seems like Baltimore is similar to Pittsburgh, where they just keep, finding coaches that can deliver. Like Pittsburgh can find a coach that delivers on the defensive side of the ball. Baltimore always has a defensive coach that can come in and play that hard nosed stuff, get after it, Baltimore Raven style of defense. What do you think? And for me, I think Seattle is similar. I think Pete Carroll had that kind of attitude with Seattle's defense. I don't think the defensive side of the ball was the issue. It was the offensive side of the ball. But Pete Carroll resurrected the quarterback's career, BT. So why do you fire a guy that got ran out of New York, was a backup, as he was like a journeyman backup quarterback, and now he's a starting quarterback that's leading this team potentially to the playoffs? What's the deal?
Well, I just think that he went to a place where he had super coaching because the coach that got fired, McAdoo for the Giants, one of the reasons they got mad at him because he started Geno in place of Eli Manning. Yeah. And if you knew that, you deserved to go because Eli had his streak of starting games was probably going to surpass his brother if they allowed him to do it. So I just thought that coaching has a lot to do with stuff. I think McAdoo is ridiculous, but I'm anxious to see who does well in coaching ranks because I'm really happy for Raheem Morris, who's going to Atlanta, because if he can get a quarterback, he can help out. The thing I wanted to ask you about, Charles, is Dan Quinn, the former defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, is in Washington. And Washington, I think, has the number 2 pick. Chicago's not the number 1. And they want Caleb Williams out of USC because the offensive coordinator or the quarterback coach was the quarterback coach for him at USC. And so I just wanted to see what's going to happen if Chicago picks Caleb Williams instead of Washington, or can they maneuver that to make Washington be able to get the right receiver? But Chicago, they're going to get rid of
Justin Fields.
Yes, Justin Fields. And I thought he was coming on, but they only give you a couple of years to show your stuff at quarterback. If you don't, I think this is the 4th year, going over the 5th year, they move you out of there. So I think somebody's going to play with him, I think, because he's good. But what do you think of Caleb Williams?
Well, I think the jury, I would be scared. I think he scares me, along with a lot of the other USC quarterbacks that have come before him. Is like they haven't had a great track record, i.e., like the Duke quarterbacks that have played on the Giants haven't had a good track record. But I want to pose this question to you. If Chicago does draft a quarterback, what do you think about the Giants going after Justin Fields?
Well, see, that means that they're on the green for $40 million off of Danny Jones. And I know that the first year player is probably going to get about maybe 7-8 million. Part of it is a bonus. I don't know about that because I like him. I do. And I think he's improved and he can run the ball. But what do you do about Danny Jones? I mean, Saquon was talking about him the other day and he said he's doing really good in his rehab. And sometimes when a player gets hurt, he works hard enough he's even better when he comes back. So I think the jury's out on that. But I would think about that, Charles. Think
But
about
it's
this. You know,
it's a good question because you probably won't
it
have
is.
to give up a first round pick for him. He'll probably take a 2 or a third round pick or even low because everybody's afraid of him because he hasn't performed very well. But if you look at the most recent body of work, he started to come on, right? And if Brian Dabble is the quarterback whisperer, then there may be an opportunity to resurrect a athletic quarterback that has no injury. Well, he does have injury issues, but not as bad as Daniel Jones because don't forget, Daniel Jones always goes out with a neck injury. So there must be something going on with the neck. And you know just as well as I do when you're dealing with the spine and the neck, it's only a matter of time before you go in and having surgery doing something to it. So what do you think about that? That's a good thing to ponder is like, look, we got this Justin Fields. We don't have to draft a quarterback. We can give up a third round pick for this kid and he can come in and be our savior. I like the idea.
I love the idea, as a matter of fact, because you don't got to pay Justin Fields yet, and you're 40 million into Danny Jones, so that would keep you around 45 or under 50 million for the quarterbacks. I think it's a great move. I look for the Giants to at least think about it, and I think we should throw it out to people so we can get some what they think about it also. Yeah.
But that would be, I think that especially if Chicago drafts a quarterback, I think the Giants should make a call to the Bears to see if they would be willing to part ways. Because look, Daniel Jones is coming off of a major knee injury. He may not even be ready for the start of training camp. Why not get somebody in there, put competition? I know all the rumors outside of inside the Giants camp is that they believe in Daniel Jones and he's going to be their quarterback. But it would be a disservice to the team if they didn't have a backup plan. And I think Justin Fields, you're not having to pay a lot of money. He's still on his rookie deal. Why not just bring him in to see what he can do?
Take us to the break, Charles.
Well, you've been listening to The Expressway with Charles Show Me the Way and the BT Express Military right here on alumnimedia.com. Check us out each and every Wednesday, 10:15 to 11:15 each and every Wednesday. We will be right back, and we'll be talking about the Super Bowl Sunday game, the Chiefs versus the 49ers. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Expressway. You're watching us live on alumnimedia.com. Check us out each and every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11:15 live on alumnimedia.com. If you fail to make it at 10:15, you can always check us out on Fridays and check the replay of the show on Fridays on YouTube starting at 9 a.m. Check us out. And all you have to do is search the Expressway with the BT Express Billy Taylor and Charles Show Me the Way. We've just got finished two amazing segments talking about the Jets, Giants, and all things football. And we are putting it out there in the NFL universe, and hopefully some of the Giant personnel and Joe Shane check us out. Justin Fields may be available. Check him out. You can get him for the low price of a third round pick. Come on to the Homeboy Shopping Network in Chicago. But anyway, we got the Super Bowl this Sunday, BT. I mean, you got Kansas City. Kansas City had a great game against the Ravens. Nobody was expecting the Kansas City to pull it out because Lamar Jackson, the MVP of the league, we'll find out at NFL Honors on Thursday night if he is the NFL MVP. But everybody, for all intents and purposes, he will be named the NFL MVP. Like I said, Lamar Jackson has not proven anything to me. I think he needs to get with a quarterback's coach and get his mechanics right. His mechanics aren't right. And until he does that, he will be another Donovan McNabb And mark my word, he could be another Donovan. And oh, by the way, since we're talking about Super Bowl, Asante Samuels, and this is relevant to Kansas City. Asante Samuels was talking about when he was with the Eagles, and that he went up. He was talking to Andy Reid. Went up to Andy Reid's office, saying, "How come Donovan McNabb? Every time we're in practice, we're going against here. I see him throwing the ball in the ground. What's up with that? You're not worried about him throwing the ball in the ground on the easy pass when nobody's even covering the receivers?" He said, Andy Reid tells him, "Well, that's up to you. If you want to, you're a leader of this team. You need to go and tell him you got a problem with it." And so Andy was like, "Man, if you don't get out of my office asking me to correct, don't you play defense? You don't play offense. Why are you worrying about this side of the ball?" And so that's the Andy Reid story. But Kansas City, I think they have a good chance as long as they got Patrick Mahomes. I think Spags, you give Spags 2 weeks to prepare for you on the offensive side of the ball. He did it when we played against New England in the Super Bowl and won that Super Bowl. And he did it against based off of what you saw in the Ravens game. What do you think the positives and pros are for the Kansas City Chiefs?
You see, the reason they won that game, and I think they psyched Baltimore out because they went up 14-0, and then Baltimore thought they had to get in the scoring battle, and they did not run the ball. That's what Kansas City does for you. And I really, that analytic thing, when they, you receive the kickoff, and then you go in the second half and the first half. As an offensive team, I would take the ball in the beginning. You know what? I drive right down the field and silence everybody. And that's the thing that kind of makes me mad is that other teams try to emulate that, and that hurts me. Almost when Green Bay almost beat San Francisco. They took the ball, and they even if they wanted to toss it, they drove down the field and scored and put San Francisco behind. Holmes was showing me when I even hate to admit it because I'm a Texas Tech grad that he is one of the best I've ever seen. I don't see him throwing double coverage a lot. I see him always going to the right person. I see him maneuvering to get out of the way of the rushing defensive line and down the field. The difference between him and Lamar is Lamar will come out and tell himself he's going to run the ball and not downfield. And I think that's why he's not in Patrick Mahomes' category. It means if he wins this Super Bowl, he can come up with some of the greats that ever played. They talk about a list of people who won 3 titles and 2 there's about 5 guys on the list in all the sports. You know, Larry Bird and Bill Russell and people like that. There's not a big list. This Saturday, I think he's going to elevate where he is. What I like about him, he doesn't talk about himself. He gives credit to the defense and offensive line. Even his receivers who led the NFL in drop. He said, "Well, I'm going to put the ball in the first. I have to do that." I like that competition.
Yeah, I think that's the X factor when you're looking at someone like that is that he put the ball in the perfect position he was a chance to get it. Only his receiver. I think it's like almost you look at if you want to look at the quarterbacks of old like Joe Montana, he can get the ball. He doesn't necessarily have to because he can move around the pocket, but he can get the ball off in 2 seconds. He's known for throwing the ball quick and getting it out, and that's why you could never stop him because he would never hold on to the ball. He was mobile, but he never ran like he wasn't. You can't call him Steve Young mobile. And I think if you look at Steve Young, it reminds me Patrick Mahomes is like Steve Young, yes, because he can run the ball, he can move around the pocket, stay in the pocket as well. I think now that he's gotten older, Patrick Mahomes moves around the field. Not move, he doesn't move around the run. He moves around to give his receivers.
As funny as you say, he's getting older. He's only in his 6th year. And in his 15 years, he's only got 9 more to go. The way that him and Andy Reid meshed together is something for a long time. And you talking about Andy Reid may retire. I'm retire as long as I got Pat Mahomes as my quarterback. I got a chance. And then Spagnolia, the defensive coordinator, who's got to be one of the best in the NFL. I think and see it's going to be good for a while. I'm not saying they're going to beat San Francisco, but if you have the game going into the fourth quarter, I'm already won because I'm entertained. And that's what I look at. Being entertained something on set. You go back and forth. And the San Francisco, they make some plays that too. Been a big part of the city. You know, Trevor, the tight end, I don't know if he
Travis
that's
Kelce.
that's the game, but for me, that's Pat Mahomes, another probably out of ever.
I totally agree with you. I think it's a match made in heaven. How they work well together, and they're doing it without a good wide receiver. They don't have great receivers over there, and so it's Travis Kelce and it's John. It's we just talked about the running back there. They're doing it without really good receivers. That's just amazing, and that's a testament. And when you have a great quarterback, it kind of covers up a lot of major issues. I.e., on the flip side, where everybody talking about in the media, they had media day a couple days ago, and they're talking about Brock Purdy being a manager. He manages the game well, right? He doesn't make mistakes. He's a manager. He manages. So it's like a Trent Dilfer. You got Trent Dilfer back at quarterback again. Like I just don't want to screw up because we have a chance to win. But Trent Dilfer didn't have the type of weapons that San Francisco has. I mean, at every running back, wide receiver, and tight end, and Kittle, Debo Samuel, really great wide receivers. Plus, you got a great defense on the other side of the ball. You got a really good defense on the other side of the ball. So when you hear Brock Purdy being a manager, is that being disrespectful or just who he is?
I think it's who he is because he exactly it's exceeded his expectations that anybody would ever. But they say California, the culture of the San Francisco is a brilliant, defensive-minded guy. And if he wins this game, if San Francisco wins, he just going to go a long way to help us win. He was in Atlanta and they were behind the Patriots by 25 points and lost. I think that's going to hurt him tremendously. But it should be interesting because makes adjustments during the course of the game. I love to see teams going at halftime, trying to figure out what the other team is doing. It's like if you're your head against the wall, I'm hitting you in your head. You hit your head. I've always thought Belichick did it, and what Parcells did it. When a team is beating you or something, they're having success, find another way to stop it. The thing I'm worried about is Wilson, or they got to take him away. If I don't take him away, then you got to make other receivers beat you. I think that's going to maybe what the game comes down to.
Yeah, I agree. I'm wondering if um, I even said, would it be a blowout, right? Or is it going to be a good game? Because if it's a blowout, I think San Francisco can blow out. Uh, Kansas City. I don't think Kansas City can blow out San Francisco. I just but it's going to be a blowout where San Francisco is going to be a good game, and Kansas City
Pat Mahomes more. He's always okay. I'm going to go down with two Super Bowl rings. He had two offensive tackles out. He still performed to put the ball exactly where it's supposed to be. He almost had a chance to pull it out. With help, he's going to be dynamic. We'll wait for the fourth quarter before we get our own win. But not changing the subject. I just need to talk to you about because he's a girl. And I was at the thing they had the other day, and we were talking about Taylor Swift in the NFL. And it made me so mad because I don't listen to her music. I couldn't even tell you what song she sings. She's not defeated. She's nice to people. She gives so much. Every city she goes into, she feeds into the food banks and the hunger banks. Every single city she goes to, she pays her employees. Bonuses at the end of the month. There's so many little things that she just wanted to year. I watch her to see later to be like her. I don't understand why people hate her. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. Because if she had done anything to deserve it, she had I'm the same age, I love the carnival all of her. Person, Philip, she's happiest, and so Matthew, I mean, she goes out and does everything. And the thing that I like is that if you're serious about it, you know that you just everything that she does. I looked at it on the NFL because they go to her with practice still a good job catching the ball. It's like 25 seconds totally per game. The game lasts 60 minutes and they give her 25 seconds. People say she ruined the NFL. There's too many haters, Charles.
Always. I think people don't like to see other people successful because it's not them. And that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, that's the society we live in. Taylor Swift isn't a Karen. She doesn't berate people no matter if they deserve it or not. She's very respectful. I.e. on the Grammys. You saw what Jay-Z did at the Grammys? I mean, I'm like, look, man, your wife hasn't made a ton of song music this year, and she ain't getting billions of dollars going on tour. I mean, this woman is making billions of dollars. This is like she is probably the next biggest thing since Michael Jackson to come along. That's how popular she is. So you're getting that she won a Grammy and your wife did. You stop cheating on your wife.
Charles, man, we may get caught on that, man. They're gonna be looking for us.
I know we got to. All right, don't put that up.
Oh my goodness gracious, man.
But yeah, I mean, see, Ben was aware. He cut us out. But on that note, we went a little bit overboard. On that note, we're gonna close out this episode. You've been listening to the Expressway with Charles Shermanway and the BT Express Building Tour right here on the Alumni Media. Each and every week. Live if you miss us live, you can check us out on YouTube 9 a.m. Well, we'll be right back in a minute. And welcome back to the Expressway. You've been watching the Expressway on alumnimedia.com. Check us out each and every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11:15 live on NFLalumnimedia.com. You can always check us out on Alumni Media. All of the recordings are on alumnimedia.com. But if you can't hop on alumnimedia.com, you can check us out on YouTube starting at 9 a.m. each and every Friday morning at 9 a.m. You can check out the show every morning on Fridays at 9, starting at 9 a.m. So we've gone through the New York Giants, New York Jets, all around the NFL. We talked about the upcoming Super Bowl. We'll at the end of the fourth quarter, we will tell you our picks, who we're picking for the Super Bowl. But we're going to turn our attention to the NBA. As always, that's something that me and BT love to talk about. All-star selections were this past week. The Eastern All-Stars came out. Are there any surprises for you? Obviously, Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are two Knicks that made the All-Star game. Obviously, Jalen Brunson isn't not Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle can't play because of the shoulder. Scotty Barnes and Trae Young are there. Joel Embiid isn't playing because he has surgery on his knee. That's another storyline. The NBA trade deadline is today too. We can talk about that, but really, when you look at this All-Star selections, are you surprised that are we missing anybody that should be there? Given you got Tyrese Halliburton, deservedly so as a starter, he's been amazing. Tyrese Maxey, who's a young up-and-comer, probably should get Most Improved Player of the Year because he's doing well. Donovan Mitchell is there. Damian Lillard even made it on the team. Is there anybody who should be on there that we missed?
Well, the East doesn't look as good as the West.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, because Joe Embiid is not going to be there, I think Damian Lillard is overrated at this point. The reason I say that because Milwaukee, they're 1-4 under the new coach Doc Rivers. They fired their other coach before, and it's because he's not really teaming up with Giannis as well as he should. So I don't think he's had a good season. I think the acclimation of him going from Portland, it's kind of difficult for him. He should be there. I heard that Jalen Bronson hurt his ankle last night. I don't know if he's going to be well enough to play in the All-Star. They got 2 weeks before a week from Sunday. They play the All-Star game. So there's a lot to be thought. I don't know who else could be in there with all the injuries that they have. Joel Embiid, he shouldn't be out too long because I think he has a torn cartilage, and the cartilage really takes you about a month to come back strong. And the new technology, what they're doing with knees, allows people to come back sooner. My only problem, as I told you before, he falls down too much. And even when he hurt his knee, he was on the ground. He shouldn't have got up. If he hadn't got up, the other guy would never fell on his knee.
Right.
And I always tell my little boy, if you fall down, get your butt up as quickly as possible. And so that's my problem on that. So I don't think the East is as good as the West. And they'll put up a good game because they changed the All-Star game this year to be the East versus the West. And I think what's going to happen in the future, Charles, is they're going to have an All-Star team of Americans against the European All-Stars, and Joe Embiid would be on the outside. And you know they got some really great players that have come from Europe and different places, and Africa and different places. So I think that's where the NBA is going.
How would you who would be able to stack up? This is your front court, right? Here's your front court. You got Giannis,
Yep.
Jokic, and Embiid. That's your front court, right?
And
then you got Luka
Yep.
and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as your backcourt.
Yep.
So who going to stop? Who going to play center to stop Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic?
Because I don't think that's why I think that the West is better. And I'm not looking. If I looked at all the European players and all the players who are not from the United States, I think they would beat the United States. I really do because, with Joe Embiid playing, even though he's out and he say he was, back to 100%, he would be on the other team. He wouldn't be on the USA team. And I think that's what made the NBA as good as it is now because the big man has come in and shooting the three. And that just opened up the whole game because you can't sag on defense against anybody. And another thing I would ask you, and I know we're talking about the All-Star game, they were talking about the defense in the NBA is not as good as it used to be. I see people get 147, 150 points, and I don't know if is it a lack of defense or do you think the players are just so good they're able to go around that?
I think there are a lot of players are now able to shoot the three. You got the big man stepping out behind the line and shooting the three. So everybody, all five men on the court, are able to shoot the three, and that brings a lot of different challenges. Also, the NBA doesn't allow as much contact as it once did, so you don't have Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, uh, Bill Lambier, Rick
Yep.
Mahorn, like
Yep.
breaking your neck trying to come in through the lane because they wouldn't allow you to even drive the ball to the lane because you would be scared that your life may be taken into your own hands because they're gonna take your neck off. So I think the game is different. They made it in such a way where they don't allow a lot of contact in the game, and so that what precipitated the high scoring games because now you can drive to the lane without much force, and so that's part of it. So all you hear is drive and kick, and everybody is standing behind the 3 point line. So the lane is wide open. So you get past your first defender, you got a free lane for a layup.
And another thing, when I was younger, I loved Julius Erving, and I'm talking about one of the greatest I'd ever seen. Then Michael Jordan came around. I said, Michael Jordan's the best I've ever seen. LeBron's in his 21st year. I watched him against the Knicks the other day. He was fired up to play. He looked outstanding, and I have to give him more credit than people do because he's been in his 21st season as being as good of a shape he is, and still one of the leading guys on the All Star team. He's one of the guys that I would actually pay money for. The game at the Madison Square Garden last Saturday when the Knicks lost to the Lakers, that was one of the most biggest buzzes I've seen coming out of Madison Square Garden. We may have talked about it later, but I think that's the mecca of sports. I don't know if the Giants, Jets, the Knicks, the Nets, the Yankees or the Mets can duplicate that. And I think the Garden showed me last Saturday it is Mecca. It is the star-studded place. People want to come to there. And if the Knicks continue their ways, I think they've won 10 out of the last 11 games. It's going to be fun as we come to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. You got the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are on a hot streak. They haven't lost a game in a
Yep.
while, and so and then you got Milwaukee and Philly, because of injuries and because of a new coach. They're not doing well at this time either. So you don't know who's going to be in the top four. You got Boston still, the best team in the East.
Yep.
But when you look at the East, it's up for grabs, and it's all gonna be kind of predicated on who's going to be healthy. Now, turning our attention to the West, you got Minnesota, who I don't see how Minnesota is the number one team in the West because you talking about mentally tough. We talking about mental toughness. I think that whole team is mentally weak because they have a lot of talent,
A
but
lot of talent.
they just find a way to lose games at the end of games. And until I think Anthony, I think
Towns.
Carl Anthony Towns, and who's the
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is probably the most mentally tough guy on that team,
Yeah.
but I still think he's still young. I don't think he still has the maturity to do it quite yet. And I don't know if Anthony Towns is mentally tough to do it because it proves the point where the game he scored 60 points, he was still trying. You're in the difference between him and Joel Embiid. The same night Joel Embiid went for 70, Joel was still trying to pass the ball when he got his 70, whereas Karl Anthony Towns, every time he got the ball, he wasn't even looking to pass. He was just looking to shoot, and that's how they lost. I think they're still very selfish as a team and the young team, and they're still young. All of them are probably in their 26, 27. So
Yep.
they're still a young team. So I still think they got a long ways to go. But both of them made the All-Star team.
Yeah, and the thing about me is that I think in the NBA you got to be mentally tough. You've got to be. Carl Anthony Towns has not shown that he's tough. I think he goes back to shoot his three. He won the 3 point contest last year, but I think that was a fallacy. And I just think that he's soft on defense. I think he doesn't want to play inside. He's got a big guy over 6'11", and he don't want to dig it up inside. I think that's a negative for your team. Anthony Edwards is a highlight film, but he's inconsistent. I think he's immature. Come up later, but I everybody on this team. Stephon Curry has gone for 60, 46, and still has the same shooting range that he's had before. Kevin Durant is beginning to come on, along with LeBron James. I think Drew Booker, who plays with Phoenix, along with uh, um, um,
Bradley
uh,
Beal.
Bradley Beal. I think this All Star team is worthy of being the best against the East because with LeBron James on any team, they got a chance.
Yeah, I totally agree with you too. I think there is I'm excited. The West, you got the Clippers. Are they for real? Can they do it? Is Phoenix for real? Can they
Yep.
do it? And you got Denver. Can Denver repeat as champions? They still are the king of the hill. Can they come back and beat? So out of those three teams plus Minnesota, I think the jury is still out. As we wrap up, BT, here it is. Super Bowl predictions. I'm gonna go first. I can't. I look. I'm putting Patrick Mahomes in Tom Brady's category. He's younger than Tom Brady when he won his third Super Bowl. I think this is an opportunity for Pat to win his third Super Bowl. I just hope Andy Reid does like Bill Belichick and go for the long haul and stay in coaching. Obviously, he has a lot of family issues and may precipitate him leaving coaching for a little bit just to be with his family, given all the issues that his family has had over the years. But I would love to see this run. And I don't like to see dynasties. Everybody hate dynasties, right? And you're starting to. If I guarantee, if Kansas City wins this year, you're going to see the haters come out and dislike the whole thing with Kansas City, but I'm going with Kansas City.
Well, see, the thing about it is, I just like you, I don't like haters. I still like great performances, and Pat Mahomes has given me some of the outstanding performances that I've ever seen from a quarterback position. And they put him in so many different. They try to take away people. It's wide receivers. That wide receiver that plays in Miami, the best wide receivers I've ever seen. He went to Miami free agency and has done a good job with Tua, but he's got to miss Patrick Mahomes. He's got to because you look at what happens on offense with Kansas City. If you're open, he gets the ball to you. He doesn't throw in double coverage. The thing that scares me is that San Francisco, I think, has better talent. I think they have better receivers than Kansas City. I think they got a better tight end. I mean, no, they have a better tight end, but they got a better yeah, they got a good tight end. They do have a good tight end.
Mhm.
And McCaffrey is arguably one of the best running backs in the NFL. If you think about on paper, I think San Francisco should win and would be a great feather in Shanahan's cap if he wins. And I think that's going to revolt him to talk about maybe being in the Hall of Fame. But I'm going to go opposite you. Since you're going with Kansas City, of course, I got to go with San Francisco. And the thing about it is that if the 49ers don't start off slow, then they could have a chance to win at the end. I've seen Kansas City a couple of times this year, Kansas City take the lead and then not do anything in the second half. Even against Baltimore, they didn't score any points in the second half. So if San Francisco can prevent them from getting off early, prevent Kansas City, then I think San Francisco got a chance.
Yeah, I can see that. I think it should be a good game. I think I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, if San Francisco plays like they did in the first half against Detroit, it's over. It's over.
Quick question for you. People talk about Belichick not getting a job. Why do you think he didn't get a job?
I think because he wants too much control. He
No.
wants to control everything. And I know the Giants, and that's been one of the concerns with the Giants. I think the Giants would love to have Bill Belichick back in the house. But the Giants want that separation of power. They want someone in control of the personnel. They want someone in control of the players and the team. And they don't want that guy having too much because George Young had all of the power and all of the control and the owner couldn't say anything to George Young because that was when the commissioner put George Young in that position and gave him autonomy because there was issues within the team, and so they don't want to go back to that. And so I don't think, and I think a lot of other teams, a lot of other owners, look at the Carolina Panthers owner. He wants a lot of owners. I'm paying. Look, if you're paying billions of dollars for a team, do you want to you want somebody to tell you shut up and sit in the corner? I don't think so.
See, I agree with you on that, but I just think that Belichick made his own hole. I mean, people look at across the world of him doing his press conferences, he's totally negative. And people think that he's that way. I think other teams have seen that too, and they're not going to touch someone who treats other people like that. And I just looked at the media. You and I are a little bit a part of it. I've been a part of it for a long time, and the media has a job to do. They're trying to be the difference between the fans and the team. He doesn't give you anything. And I just think that come back to hurt him. I know you say he wants the power, but I think to get a job, he may relinquish some of the power from a general manager standpoint because he's done terrible the last 6 years and probably when Brady was gone. So there's a lot of questions up in the air. But Charles, before we go, are you sure you want to keep that pick, the Kansas City Chiefs?
I'm going with Pat Mahomes. I'm riding the repeat champion.
I'm giving you a chance because I think San Francisco. The thing about it would be too good if Pat Mahomes wins. It really was. If they start hating on him, they better looking at every move he does and stuff like that. So that's why I think San Francisco's got to win to keep the haters in check. But anyway, go ahead.
What's the over/under for how many times Taylor Swift is going to be shown at the Super Bowl? The over/under 10 times.
No, because they're going to take Travis away from the game, and I think Travis is going to be one you have to do be a decoy in order for and let the other receivers win. So if he does that, Taylor Swift may not get as much attention as she usually does, and I hope that she does because she only does it in a happy way. I've never seen her be negative toward it. You know, she's grasping his mother, hugging her, hugging people when Travis does. I just like her. Anyway, we call this the Expressway with Charles Way and Billy Taylor. We're on every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11:15. And on Friday, we come on 9 a.m. on YouTube on alumnimedia.com. Thank Ben back in the studio for always taking care of us, making us look good. I got to thank Charles for always bringing the show together. He's the one that puts everything together and our highlights for that. So go Super Bowl week. This is a great week. It should be a holiday around the world because when people watch the game and gets done at 10 o'clock at nighttime, you need the next day off. That's since you've been partying all day. But for Charles Way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Billy Taylor. Thanks for joining us. Have a good Super Bowl week.